revised licensing set statutory guidelines and accord required compliance. Now, in different operations to crack down the errant security guards, police arrested some officers, also revoking 7 licenses and suspending 20 from the operation. Now, police also accuses the private security companies of manipulating police uniforms and those of the army in their activities, as a new curriculum is set to ensure the training and release of qualified private security guards, which has also been released by the Uganda police. Now, meanwhile, the territorial police in Arua also apprehended a 43-year-old Aja Victor Adame for impersonating as a staff from Ministry of Education and defrauding 35 staff members of 35 million shillings for job placements and promotions. Now, lastly, from our local scene is the Bamasaba cultural leaders, that is Inzu Yamasaba Culture Institution, has called upon all local governments in the Bugisu region rather, to come up with ordinances to regulate gambling within the region. The Umkuka Mudoma says over 1,000 university students in Masabaland lost their tuition in gambling at an event that compromised realization of their desired dreams, causing a loss to many of the parents. Now, His Royal Highness the Umukuka of Bamasaba, Jude Mike Mudoma, revealed that Masabaland is likely to lose out on its transformation agenda if local leadership fails to combine efforts to regulate gambling amongst the youth. Now, speaking to Bamasaba during a prayer breakfast at Inzuya Masaba offices Maluku, that is Mbale City, the Bamasaba culture leader also expressed concern on the skyrocketing father's absence from homes leading single parenting. Then the Omukuka asserted that the father's deserting homes facilitates an increased number of children flocking the city streets. The Omukuka encouraged leaders to sensitize electorates to embrace the forthcoming national census, which is due next month of May. And well, that brings us to the end of our local scene. Now, Merab takes us through what is making headlines away from Uganda.
Well, straight to the international scene, we have some stories. The trial of Donald Trump. Prosecution say hush money was pure election fraud. The prosecution in Donald Trump's hush money trial accused the former president of criminal conspiracy and cover-up to hide a sex scandal ahead of the 2016 presidential elections. It was election fraud, pure and simple, a lawyer told the jury during open statements on Monday at the historic trial in New York. Setting out the case for defense, Mr. Trump's lawyer said his client had committed no crimes and that it was not illegal to try to influence an election. He clocked in innocence. He added, Mr. Trump is accused of trying to cover up a 130,000 US dollars, 104,500 pounds payment to porn star Stormy Daniels before he won the race for the White House back in 2016. He pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records and also denies having an alleged sexual encounter with Ms. Daniels, whose name is Stephanie Clifford. And over to India, Modi Muslims remark spark hate speech accusation as India's mammoth election divides. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been accused of delivering Islamophobic remarks during an election rally on Sunday, triggering widespread anger from prominent Muslims and members of the opposition. The world's most populous nation is in the midst of a mammoth week-long election in which Modi's ruling Janata Party, BJP, is widely expected to secure a rare third consecutive term. Speaking in front of a large crowd in the country's western Rajasthan state, Modi said if voted into power, the country's main opposition, the Indian National Congress, would distribute the country's wealth among inflators and those who have more children, in apparent reference to the Muslim community. When the Congress when they, the Congress, were in power, they said Muslims have first right over resources. They will gather all your wealth and distribute it among those who have more children. They will distribute among inflators, Modi said to the thunderous roar from the audience. And moving over to South Africa, Jacob Zuma leads 3-0 in court battles. South Africa's battle-scarred former president Jacob Zuma is proving he still has a winning streak, recently scoring a hat trick in the courtroom. For the third time in the last month, the 82-year-old has thwarted attempts to stop him or his new party from consenting the general elections at the end of May. His latest victory came on Monday in the Durban High Court, where the governing Africa National Congress, the ANC, tried to force his party, Wukuto Wesizwe, the MK, to drop his name and logo. This is because it is named after the now disbanded armed wing of the ANC, which fought against white party minority rule that ended the election of anti-apartheid hero Nelson Mandela in 1994. The ANC argued that the trademark law had been breached and that the use of the name, which translates as Spear of the Nation, would lead to a voter confusion in the upcoming May poll. The judge disagreed. Yes, that has been our international news that has been making rounds this morning.
Well, and away from the international scene, we now turn our focus on what is making headlines in print media. We start off from the local scene here in Uganda with the New Vision highlighting government recruits 300 more RDCs. Each district is to have a deputy and 2 assistants, according to what the New Vision is highlighting. Also, President Museveni meets Total Energy's bosses. You can find more about that meeting in today's New Vision. Then lifestyle, Namagunga girls meet after 50 years. Read about that OG reunion of Namagunga. Then in the health perspective, acute kidney injuries in children linked to severe malaria. Then General Muhoozi mourns fallen Kenyan CDF. Read about that still with the New Vision. Then heavy rains damage Chengera Budo section on Masaka Highway. You can see the damage of the highway at the front page of today's New Vision. Now the Daily Monitor is highlighting more of the other stories as 10 ways to prevent bathroom slips and falls. Read about this as it has become a public health concern, as engineers and public health experts have warned of widespread use of inappropriate materials in the construction industry, leading to rising death of Ugandans due to falls in bathroom. Here's how to avoid such falls and how to prevent them. Then government is set to destroy 50,000 passports worth 12.5 billion Ugandan shillings. Big report in today's Daily Monitor. Read about why the government is making such a move. Then also, I don't regret taking 500 million service award, says Honorable Mpuga. Why is that so? More details of the same in the Daily Monitor today. Now, crossing the borders to Kenya, flashy city pastor on the run over 600 million Kenyan shillings jobs racket. The pastor is at the front page of today's Daily Nation. Pastor James Wanjobi of Jesus Culture Ministries easily stands out whenever he goes. But the question is, where does he get all that money? Now, also, teachers oppose proposal to lower retirement age. Read about why these teachers in Kenya are opposing this. Then doctors no show at meeting as state seeks end of strike. Then also be aware of floods and landslides, as the weatherman now warns. That is with what the Daily Nation is highlighting. Now, lastly, from our press review this morning, is the Citizen from Tanzania. Stanbic Bank Ramani impact to boost trade and financial inclusion within the country, as also how investment fared in the last 3 decades. Read about the growth trajectory of Tanzania, how they grew from 1 billion up to 7.8 billion, down to 3 billion, and again to 4.7 billion US dollars. Then bus owners allowed impact of 24 hours operation. As from the national directive, you can read about Majara, who wants action on unlicensed fishing within Tanzania. So that is it from our press review this morning. Our conversations immediately after the break will be rotating around the red eyes outbreak within the country. How to deal with it? Are there measures by the Ministry of Health in the country to curb the spread? And how can we deal with these particular red eyes infections that are ongoing within the country? But first, we do have our inspirational song, and this one is coming in from Hailey Stenfield, saying, "Love Myself." Have it as your first morning inspiration this morning as we return with our newsreel. This is Good Morning Uganda. Different operations to crack down the errant security guards. Police arrested some officers, also revoking 7 licenses and suspending 20 from the operation. Now, police also accuses the private security companies of manipulating police uniforms and those of the army in their activities, as a new curriculum is set to ensure the training and release of qualified private security guards, which has also been released by the Uganda police. Now, meanwhile, the territorial police in Arua also apprehended a 43-year-old Aja Victor Adame for impersonating as a staff from Ministry of Education and defrauding 35 staff members of 35 million shillings for job placements and promotions. Now, lastly, from our local scene is the Bamasaba cultural leaders, that is Inzu Yamasaba Culture Institution has called upon all local governments in the Bugisu region, to come up with ordinances to regulate gambling within the region. The Mkuka Mudoma says over 1,000 university students in Masabaland lost their tuition in gambling at an event that compromised realization of their desired dreams, causing a loss to many of the parents. Now, His Royal Highness the Umukuka of Bamasaba, Jude Mike Modoma, revealed that Masabaland is likely to lose out on its transformation agenda if local leadership fails to combine efforts to regulate gambling amongst the youth. Now, speaking to Bamasaba during a prayer breakfast at Inzuya Masaba offices Maluku, that is Mbale City, the Bamasaba culture leader also expressed concern on the skyrocketing father's absence from homes leading single parenting. Then the Omukuka asserted that the father's deserting homes facilitates an increased number of children flocking the city streets. The Omukuka encouraged leaders to sensitize electorates to embrace the forthcoming national census, which is due next month of May. And well, that brings us to the end of our local set. Now, Merab takes us through what is making headlines away from Uganda.
Well, straight to the international scene, we have some stories. The trial of Donald Trump. Prosecution say hush money was pure election fraud. The prosecution in Donald Trump's hush money trial accused the former president of criminal conspiracy and cover-up to hide a sex scandal ahead of the 2016 presidential elections. It was election fraud, pure and simple, a lawyer told the jury during open statements on Monday at the historic trial in New York. Setting out the case for defense, Mr. Trump's lawyer said his client had committed no crimes and that it was not illegal to try to influence an election. He clocked in innocence. He added, Mr. Trump is accused of trying to cover up a $130,000 US, 104,500 pounds payment to porn star Stormy Daniels before he won the race for the White House back in 2016. He pleaded not guilty to 34 counts of falsifying business records and also denies having an alleged sexual encounter with Ms. Daniels, whose name is Stephanie Clifford. And over to India, Modi Muslims remark spark hate speech accusation as India's mammoth election divides. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been accused of delivering Islamophobic remarks during an election rally on Sunday, triggering widespread anger from prominent Muslims and members of the opposition. The world's most populous. The world's most populous nation is in the midst of a mammoth week-long election in which Modi's ruling Janata Party, BJP, is widely expected to secure a rare third consecutive term. Speaking in front of a large crowd in the country's western Rajasthan state, Modi said if voted into power, the country's main opposition, the Indian National Congress, would distribute the country's wealth among inflators and those who have more children, in apparent reference to the Muslim community. When the Congress were in power, they said Muslims have first right over resources. They will gather all your wealth and distribute it among those who have more children. They will distribute among inflators, Modi said to the thunderous roar from the audience. And moving over to South Africa, Jacob Zuma leads 3-0 in court battles. South Africa's battle-scarred former president Jacob Zuma is proving he still has a winning streak. Recently,
we are believed to have come from Baragazel in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
Which saved the life of men actually.
Fought fiercely.
which was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Which remain the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering on Saturday, the 20th of April 2024, 3 to 8 p.m. at Ndere Center.
To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
All right, a very good morning and welcome along to Good Morning Uganda, and it's time for us to get into our newsreel this morning. On set with me is Merab, and we are having the Public Relations Officer from the Ministry of Health, who is going to be joining us on a phone call this morning. Our conversation is really rotating around red eyes, the red eyes outbreak within the country and how the cases are also on the rise. But then the entire conversation will again drive to how can we prepare ourselves, or how can we continue preventing the continuous spread of this. Many of us have interacted with colleagues who have highly been infected by the red eyes. Not only that, we also have relatives or family that are already infected. At the moment, it may be your child, but the question is, how can you deal with this? How can you prevent the spread from increasing within your neighborhood? Then also, for those who have been already infected, how can you treat this? And well, of course, when you go to most of the medical centers within the country or around the country, you realize that now they are offering some treatment for red eyes because it has become a very huge issue. In contact with so many every day, you get to realize that you don't know who is infected or not. At times, someone may be carrying it also after being infected from someone who already had it, and then you continuously have this particular red eyes with you. And of course, we are going to be joined by the PRO from the Ministry of Health, like I did mention, to also give us some figures or statistics from what the Ministry of Health has so far in regards to the red eyes outbreak. But before we even get to him on phone call, I will also rush to you, our dear viewer, to give us your view and an opinion on how you are dealing with the red eyes outbreak within the country. How are you preparing yourself? How are you preventing the disease from infecting you? And for those who have been infected and have survived from the same, how did you deal with it? You can share with us on our WhatsApp number, and then you can also follow us on our X handle, that is at UBC TV Uganda, as we have this conversation along. But Mary, before I get to Mr. Inebiona, when you look at the infections that are rising of red eyes, what is the biggest worry for you?
Well, it comes with having to worry about how this is affecting individuals themselves. And once the person is infected, their lives come to a standstill because they have to isolate from others because they don't want to infect other children, other workers, other, having to worry about that. And for school-going children, it sets them back because they're not attending class. They're not having a normal life that they usually have. So that is my major worry. It affects the lifestyle of others. Knowing that it's not dangerous kind of calms me down because I know it's not going to cause any death, no serious issues around there, but the worry about how it's going to slow down our lives.
Well, and now we get to be joined by the PRO from the Ministry of Health, Mr. Emmanuel Inebiona this morning. We need to have this conversation because some of the details that were released from the Health Ministry show that majority of the cases are within prisons, schools, communities, health centers, even police stations. Now, when you look at this, it goes back to most areas where people are gathered in huge numbers. A very good morning, sir, and many thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers. This is Emmanuel Inebiona.
Well, it's a pleasure having you this morning in regards to the conversation we are having. If you are just to take us back to the outbreak of the red eyes, from the Ministry of Health's perspective, how are you trying to lay down information for the Ugandans to understand how to deal with red eyes?
Thank you very much. As you recall, the Ministry of Health declared the outbreak of conjunctivitis, also commonly known as red eyes, in the month of March, and that is after cases had been reported here in Kampala schools and the prisons. And this is a self-limiting infection. It is like flu. When you get flu, you tend normally to recover after some time, and that is the case for red eyes, and it is a very easy disease to catch. And it largely affects the white part of the eyeball and the inside eyelid, and this causes itching and tearing and also the red eyes, and thus the name red eyes. So as a Ministry of Health, we have guided on what the population needs to do. And this, among others, is to ensure that we wash hands frequently with water and soap, and also helping the young children to do the same. Washing your hands thoroughly with soap and water after touching someone with red eyes, or using an alcohol-based sanitizer. And also we need to avoid touching and rubbing the eyes. Avoid sharing personal items such as makeup, eye drops, towels, beddings, and eyeglasses, because this is also a disease that affects through touching and surfaces. So that's why we appeal to the population. If you are dealing with this condition, you need to ensure that you regularly wash your hands and try not to share items with other family members. And also, we discourage application of local medicines and concoctions into your eyes. When you get red eyes, you need to seek treatment from a qualified health worker. And how does it present? This red eyes presents with redness or swelling of the eyes, watery eyes, that may cause a lot of tearing, grainy sensation and scratchy feeling in the eyes, itchiness, irritating, burning of the eyes, and discharge from the eyes. So in summary, I want to say that this disease is not of a public concern because it is self-limiting and it's not among the diseases of interest for the Ministry of Health. The diseases that we normally follow, you know them, that cause of public health concern. But much as given that we have it spreading, we are focusing on high volume places like prisons and also schools to ensure that we provide information and guidance on what people need to do. Thank you.
Mr. Emmanuel, do you think we have undermined the strength of what this spread can cause to us as a country?
We have not undermined. What you need to do in supporting us as a Ministry of Health is disseminate the information that is correct.
Sure.
People not using concoctions, people not sharing. You find a family, one has red eye, you buy one eye drop, and you find it is being shared across the entire family. That one alone further worsens the challenge of spreading. So we encourage that once you feel you feel like you have the symptoms, seek medical attention from a qualified personnel, and do not share items like eye drops. And regularly wash your hands with water and soap. And as doing such, this virus will clear.
And well, also my other worry is I've been seeing some adverts running on X, some hospitals, advertising that they're offering treatment of the red eyes, which I don't want to have huge interest in. Seeing a hospital trying to advertise for these services, but of course it's a spread that needs people to be very aware of the hospitals that are giving out treatment services. Do we have a standard sort of treatment for the red eyes, or what we do currently have a measurement?
This disease, as I said, is self-limiting. It is like flu. Sometimes it can even clear without you taking any medication.
Okay.
But once you feel like the symptoms are severe, you can seek attention. Any facility with a qualified health worker can provide guidance on what you need to do, advise you on which specific eye drop you need or cream you need to use, and that can be given from a qualified health worker. We have not put any restrictions as far as really this disease is concerned, because we know it is self-limiting and it will soon clear away.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Mary?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Ainebiona. I would want for our viewers to know, in case those that are going through treatment, how long does it take before their lives get back to normal?
It varies, but it shouldn't be more than 7 days.
Okay.
So it varies from individual to individual. And because if you do not maintain proper hand hygiene, you find you're using one handkerchief from one eye to another, you find that you keep infecting each eye. So that's why you need to maintain proper hand hygiene. For instance, using tissue. If you use the tissue to clean one eye, you don't use the same tissue to clean the other eye, because you might transfer the infection from one eye to another. And really, basically, we call for proper hand hygiene.
And Mr. Ainebiona, just to quickly also take us through, there was a statement that was released by the ministry in regards to the spread. It was from the Office of the Director General Public Relations Unit, Director General's Office, in regards to the spread of red eyes. From the Ministry of Health's perspective, which areas have been, put on high alert of or being noticed as the catchment
As I
areas
said, we have not put any restrictions, but based on our observation, the disease is largely in prisons and schools. And that's where our concentration is. We have oriented the teachers, we have oriented the prisons authority on what they need to do, and also ensuring that we continuously disseminate information on these preventive measures I have listed previously. Yes.
And just for the viewer let me first get to the viewer here real quick. For you, our dear viewer, when you look at this statement that was released, it showed a total of 790 cases cumulatively have been diagnosed in the affected prison facilities, of which 711 were declared as recovered, giving a recovery rate of 90%, just like the spokesperson of the Ministry of Health has been giving us information this morning, that when you look at the recovery rate is also very fast. If at all, you try to give yourself that time to recover, and then you're doing the right things. And also, you get to realize that a 90% recovery rate, there is also incident cases are mainly admitted as new inmates by police who initiate the cascade of in-custody transmission. So even when you look at what is happening in schools, those carrying or those who have been affected or infected by red eyes are the same people who are spreading it to those who are not putting up preventive measures for themselves, or who are not carrying on with preventive measures for themselves. But well, Mr. Emmanuel Ainebiona, you've mentioned something to do with the fact that this is something that we can, which is self-limiting. You can easily prevent it if you do the right things. So as the ministry, looking into how prepared we are as a country in regards to any sort of disease outbreak, just to give the viewer that kind of confidence that the ministry is ready. How prepared are you in case of any sort of outbreak as a ministry?
So, thank you very much. We have an emergency operation center, and we do routine surveillance. And as I said, there are key diseases of interest, and we keep monitoring. For instance, you recall the likes of Ebola, the likes of COVID. So we have a surveillance system that keeps monitoring, and also districts, facilities report any condition that might be strange that needs to be investigated by the Ministry of Health, and working with the likes of the Uganda Virus Research Institute, our Central Public Health Laboratories, we are able to investigate. And also, you've heard previously when we do genomic sequencing, and this is where, for instance, the case of COVID, we keep doing genomic sequencing to monitor whether there is no strange or mutation of the COVID-19 virus compared to what is known. And as such, this system helps us to keep the outbreaks in check. And Uganda is really among the countries that have robust systems that are able to quickly detect any infection. So this for red eyes, I call for calm. This is not a disease that should make people get worried, but only to ensure that they follow the guidelines the Ministry of Health has provided, and most importantly, ensuring that we maintain proper hand hygiene and we avoid touching our soft parts and also surfaces. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, in case of situations that do arise, away from even the red eyes, for people who would wish to get more information from the Ministry of Health, how best can they have this information? Do we have a website that is directly put up to help and assist a Ugandan out there who is, having or who is affected by any sort of virus and needs assistance from the ministry?
Yes, the Ministry of Health has multiple channels of communication. Among them is the website, which has already information on red eyes. And also we have a call center with a toll-free line, which is 0800 100 066. In case you have any inquiry, this number is not for paying. You just call, and our call center agents will be able to guide you. We are also on social media platform. We are on X. This information, if you go to the Ministry of Health handle, you are able to find it. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. all these channels we endeavor to ensure that we provide information and also have information communication materials, posters that are digital, that are being saturated through the various social media groups that include WhatsApp.
And we've had schools in Jinja, sorry to take you back a little bit, we've had schools in Jinja that have reportedly closed off for first term before the initial dates that were released by the Ministry of Education, simply because they cannot contain the red eyes spread. Was that a great move, or it's something that they did as a preventive?
That is really not from the Ministry of Health, because
true.
This disease does not warrant closure of school. So maybe it was a decision taken by either individual schools, but it's not recommended by the Ministry of Health.
And I do want to let you go, but before I do, I wish you to again take us back through the journey of how we can prevent some of the preventive measures that were laid by the Ministry of Health. I do love the fact that you've mentioned that this is not a disease or outbreak that we should be very worried about as a country, and that is going to be my takeaway point from you, because you've clearly put it that if we do the right things, we are likely not to have other people affected or infected by the red eyes. Again, if you are as we're summing up with our conversation this morning with you, what would be your parting shots to, one, the viewer who is suffering with red eyes currently, then two, someone who is trying to prevent, or who is dealing with those infected with red eyes but is trying to prevent him or herself from getting infected?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. First and foremost, how does this disease spread? Conjunctivitis spreads easily from one infected person to another by close or direct personal contact, such as touching and shaking of hands. So you can easily get it by touching contaminated objects. How do we prevent ourselves from contracting red eye? Number one, wash your hands frequently with soap and water, and help young ones to do the same. Wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water after touching someone with red eye or their items, or use an alcohol-based sanitizer where available. Avoid touching or rubbing your eyes. Avoid sharing personal items such as makeup, eye drops, towels, beddings, and eyeglasses. Do not apply any local medicine or concoctions to your eyes. When you get this red eye, seek medical attention from a qualified health worker. And this is the guidance we have given, and once you follow these preventive measures, you will defeat red eyes.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Just a quick one. I do have a comment coming in from a viewer here on our WhatsApp number who is saying his name is Simon. He would like to know how long the red eye virus survives in air on an infected surface. Is there a time period?
I think that one I need to consult our scientists, then I will revert on that. I don't have it with me now.
All right. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and we do wish you a good day, sir.
Have a good day and good morning to all the viewers.
All right. That is Emmanuel Aineviona, who is the spokesperson of the Ministry of Health, taking us through some of the guiding measures on how we can deal with the spread of the red eyes, and how we can also try to put an end to the continuous spread. But besides that, Simon, I think you've got your response from the spokesperson, who says that he will be inquiring from the scientists who are doing their further study and research on the same. Mera, back to you here. Looking at the situation, you did mention something earlier, that it is not a disease to worry about.
Yes.
And I want to believe many Ugandans are already worried about, and you can't blame them to be worried. You can only imagine if you're infected with red eyes.
Yes.
But according to you, how are you dealing with these preventive measures. But first, have you dealt with people with it?
Well, I think I got red eyes in 1996.
Ah,
yes.
You already got it.
Yes, I had it. There was an outbreak in 1996. At that time, I was in primary school, and I remember we isolated, stayed home, and were able to treat, and eventually got better. So it's been years, and it's back. And how I'm going about it, of course, I don't like the feeling that comes with having red eyes, the irritation in the eyes, and the feeling generally of not having your vision proper. Excuse me. So, excuse me. So, of course, even with other people around me, even with my kids, I would encourage them to do exactly what Mr. Ainabiona said. Sanitize, do not touch, do not share some of your things, and just try to stay away from certain things that may be contagious. Surfaces, just try to avoid things that may have you acquire the red eyes.
Well, and of course, when you also get to think deeply into what the Ministry of Health has also pushed out there is maintaining high sanitation standards. I think we are going back to the times of COVID-19.
Oh, yes. Yeah, during COVID-19, like Mr. Ainabiona had mentioned, bad touches, stay away from soft parts. Do not touch like your eyes, your mouth, areas that are highly may pick up the virus easily. So you ought to be careful. And yes, since we went through COVID and we went through the procedures, the standard procedures, we were able to somehow manage without people acquiring the COVID. So it can be the same thing with the red eyes. Just be cautious and be sanitize. I've been seeing in certain areas around Kampala, even when you're getting into those places, your hands are sanitized, and they don't greet you. So it is important to follow those procedures, just not to have this spread more.
Well, and also the Ministry of Health further recommends that we should not be sharing any sort of personal items with infected persons, which includes pillows, clothing. It also includes, the eye drops that these infected persons may have been prescribed to use. So these are items that you should not be sharing and also getting in direct contact with them. So you have to make sure you're doing continuous hand washing, using your sanitizer, and making sure that you do the social distancing, but most importantly as well, avoid touching the soft parts of your body, your nose, your eyes, very much so, because at any one moment you may have got in contact with someone who has red eyes and you get to acquire them as a person. But as much as we are moving forward with those who have actually been affected by the same during this entire outbreak in Uganda, you get to realize that we have those who have healed very fast, and then we also have those that have taken some good time. Just one last comment from our viewer from Makindi Luafu, who says, good morning, JP and Merab. I think there is a laxity of sensitization from the government and society. The disease is precedented but not taken serious at all, and I believe that's the reason for its widespread. People are totally ignorant of its causes, how it spread and how to prevent it as well. We actually think it's just a trend, and to Ugandans, any disease which is non-deadly, we just ignore. We need to take this as a serious issue. I think he has a very pertinent concern here when he says we've not taken this as serious as it is.
Yeah, because you find people are not even aware about the red eyes and how it comes about and what causes it, how to prevent it. Most times people, you just hear them say, oh, I have the red eyes, but have no knowledge about the red eyes. So I think, especially with our schools and our communities, there should be more sensitization about the red eyes. With schools, since the cases are more in schools and in prisons, that should be a point of for the administration and the teachers to educate and to sensitize the the students, the pupils about this red eyes, because they will be able to know what to do and what not to do. Together with our communities, they should also be able to acquire this knowledge that will help them curb down the number of infections. However much this may not be a serious disease or anything that may cause harm, we ought to be careful, and this can only be done with proper sensitization from our communities, from our teachers, from our leaders. Get into a drive and make sure people acquire knowledge about the red eyes.
Well, speaking of sensitization, we're doing the dissemination here on Good Morning Uganda, and well, the preventive measures are quite many, but most importantly, make sure that you sanitize, wash your hands frequently in case you're in contact with any other person, but also avoid being in direct contact with the infected people. For those who are infected, you can seek for further medical guidance and advice, and then also make sure you get onto treatment. The lucky ones don't need the treatment, but it's always wise when you have such a disease or such an infection so that you can get some treatment in order to prevent further spread of those close to you. Joram Paul Sonko and Merab Cheretich this morning, we've been having a real conversation with the Ministry of Health spokesperson Emmanuel Ainebiona, who was joining us via phone call. Our conversation was dealing with the red eyes spread prevention and how to curb its further spread within the country. Hope you have picked something from our conversation or discussion this morning. After the break, Alan returns with the GMU Tourism Express. So stick around. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Was brought to you by
just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hustle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Luo segment. Learn about the famous legend of Jipiri and Labongo and how the Alur, Acholi, Jonam and Japadola Jaluo emerged.
The Luo are basically Nilotic.
We have believed it to have come from Baragazel in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
Rora saved the life of men actually.
Fought fiercely.
Awich was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Awich remained the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering on Saturday the 20th of April 2024, 3 to 8 p.m. at Ndere Center.
To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to the GME Tourism Express with Irene Allen Namisango. This is that time when we talk about anything that you need to know about Uganda's tourism. We talk about the trends, the travel news, accommodation, travelpreneurship, anything that you need to know about Uganda's tourism. This is the perfect time for you to tune in and get to delve into all the beautiful features, all the beautiful landmarks, all the beautiful attractions that dwell in our motherland, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Well, I think tourism should be everyone's business, because when you talk, imagine going for a vacation or going to relax of your normal life, but also having the satisfaction at the back of your mind, knowing that you're enabling someone else to earn from also something that you're enjoying. So someone is earning from your enjoyment. But you know, there is a big value chain behind tourism. On every tourism activity, there are so many people that are directly or indirectly engaged to make sure that the tourism industry goes on smoothly. Talk about security, talk about transportation, talk about the hoteliers, business people. Like there is a lot, there is a very big value chain behind the tourism sector that I feel everyone should be involved in this campaign or in this move that the country is taking on to promote Uganda as a universally acceptable tourism destination. So when you think about the businesses that we have, if you're a traveler, if you're a tour operator, or if you're just indirectly or directly connected to the tourism sector, yes, just go on and make sure that we promote Uganda's tourism on a global scale and attract big numbers of tourists coming into the country. And together we shall earn from the tourism sector, because it is one of the biggest exports that we have in the country, and it is worth selling out. Well, today we are going to talk about the very many tourism attractions that we have in the country. When we call Uganda the Pearl of Africa, it is indeed a lot of beauty dwells here. But there is this one particular place that is very attractive to me, that I find it attractive, and if you get time to delve into its beauty, getting every bit of detail about it, it is a very interesting destination that everyone would wish to explore, and that place is Kampala. Of course, we know Kampala, it is the capital city of Uganda. It has so many interesting attractions, the monuments, the heritage in the buildings, the first schools. Like, there is a lot that you need to know about Kampala. But today we are not going into the attractions or what you can do when you come to explore Kampala, but we are telling you about the 5 unique things that you need to know about Kampala before coming to explore it. You know, there are so many stories about Kampala that are controversial, but these are the beautiful things that you need to know about Kampala before you come to visit. First, Kampala is it is an economic bustling city. Like, anything that concerns economics, businesses, you will find it in Kampala. From the administrative offices, talk about the Parliament of Uganda, many of the ministries of the government have their offices in Kampala, Nakasero, Kololo, Buganda Road, the private offices, private company offices. Talk about the industrial area, like there are so many offices in Kampala, but also the other businesses like business people, entrepreneurship, that retail selling. Chikubo is the spot for you. So when you say that Kampala is an economic bustling city, you know it is everything that is economical that you're going to find it. If you want graphics, printing, NASA Road, you can never fail to get anything from there. If you want maybe motor spares, Chiseka, that place, anything about cars, you'll definitely find it there. So Kampala is an economic bustling city that if you need to do investment, if you need to do research, if you're coming for a business trip just to know how business is carried on in Uganda, Kampala is a best destination for you to come and explore. But still about Kampala. In Kampala, there is something that is very common that you should definitely know before coming to this city. In Kampala, we do not wear a Rolex, but we eat it. So this Rolex is just a rolled chapati with eggs, and sometimes it can be with beef, sometimes it can be with vegetables, other times it can be with chicken, but this is a very delicious delicacy that you shouldn't definitely miss when you come to explore Kampala, because this is something, actually, this is something that a normal man cannot miss, I think, on a daily basis. It will somehow come in their daily meals, maybe for breakfast, maybe for dinner, but it will somehow come in, maybe as a snack, but it is a very delicious delicacy that you shouldn't miss when you explore Kampala. Another thing that you should know, the third one, is that learn some simple Uganda words. You know, when you come to a new place and you're exploring it, you need to interact with the local people. You need to have some local words that you learn. Simple words like oliotia, meaning how are you? Simple words like webale, meaning thank you. Maybe you need to learn these simple words. Maybe jebaleko, meaning well done. These words help you to get better conversations with the locals, but also to get more interactive with the locals. So learn some simple Uganda words, and as you're coming to Kampala, so also be sure of this language called Oglish. So this is Luganda and English. You'll find people certainly telling you that oyagala food. So food is English, but oyagala is Luganda. That is, do you want food? So be sure of that language, that it is very common. People mix Luganda and English, but it is interesting when you dive into these things in Kampala city. And another point, or another thing that you should know, is that in Kampala, you never miss to get anything in Owino Market. Now, Owino Market is Kampala's largest market, but just know that from the textiles, shoes, to local produce, to agricultural produce, you never fail to get anything in Owino Market. So some of the people, I've seen some of the people struggling with kilograms when they're coming on the flights. They want to pack everything from toothpaste, toothbrushes. They think there is nothing in Kampala. My friends, everything, you'll find it in Kampala. And if you go down there in Owino Market, you can never miss on getting anything that you want. But be sure that this place is so crowded that you can come out, you enter the market with both your shoes, but you can come out with just one shoe. Or if you miss your friend as you're moving in the market, you need to first come out and then call that person. You can fail to find that person again, because the place is so busy, so crowded with people, because people go there to do a lot of shopping in this place. So it is an interesting place that you should visit, but you should know that you can definitely find anything as you're traveling to Kampala. So, and then the last one that you should actually take very good note of is the good weather. Kampala has the most beautiful weather that you ever find in Africa, and actually the whole world, because one minute it is raining, the other minute it is shiny, but also the temperatures don't really go so high. So you're always having that cool temperatures and minimal temperatures that are going to enable you do all your activities as you wish to have them throughout the day. So Kampala has a very beautiful weather that you need to experience. This, I cannot even just talk about it, but it is something that you need to come and experience. Those are the 5 unique things that you needed to know about Kampala before coming to explore this beautiful city that awaits for you. However, the travel tip that we have for you today, it is, as you're exploring Kampala, as you're moving through Kampala, please make sure that you walk instead of driving. So when you walk, you're going to get real close encounters with the attractions, with the people, with the food, restaurants, with the things that you're interested in, other than just driving through them in a car when you're confined in the comforts of the car. So just walk instead of driving. That is it that we had for you in the GME Tourism Express. Coming up is the business update with Joram Paul Sonko. Catch you tomorrow.
One of my pickup points from the tourism experience has been the fact that Kampala is a business hub. And also looking at the Owino market or the St. Balikudembe market, for those of you who have been able to go downtown and explore the different business ideas and try to buy certain things from the same market. One of my most unforgettable memories with Owino that are still stuck with me is that every time I enter inside that market, the chances are very high that I'll get lost from where I came from. Because when you get inside the market, it does look like a very poor market, but it again looks like a mess. So you will have to battle and see how you get out from the Owino market as you move in to try and buy certain things. But it's now time for the business updates this morning. And of course, our very first report takes us Uganda's oil and gas sector, because according to what has been highlighted in here is that yesterday President Museveni did meet from the Total Energies. These officials were led by the President of Exploration and Production from Energies, that is Nicholas Terraz, who paid him a courtesy visit at State House in Entebbe. Now, President Museveni welcomed Terraz and assured him of government support along the way as Uganda is looking at the oil and gas sector as a game changer for Uganda. Now, Terraz has been visiting the oil exploration sites under the project. He briefed President Museveni on the project and solicited more support to ensure the success of the operation that will and the growth, development and progress of Uganda's oil and gas. Now, Terraz that the drilling and pipeline activities are going on very well at the oil project, which is now employing 1,000 Ugandans. He was accompanied by Mike Sangster, the Senior Vice President Africa, Total Energies, then Philip Grokis, who is the General Manager, Total Energies EP Uganda, then Martin Tiffen, the Managing Director, East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project of the ECOP, and General Manager, Total Energy EP Uganda. Attended by the Minister of Energy and Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Matia Kasaija, and officials from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. Total Energies that operates in over 130 nations worldwide in Uganda. Also looking at it from this way is that in Uganda, Tilenga project is operated by Total Energies, and it includes the development of 6 oil fields and drilling of about 400 wells from 31 locations within this particular area of Western Uganda. So when you look at Uganda's journey of oil and gas, come 2025, there are lots of things that we are looking at. The development that is ongoing, when you look at the airport, still the Kabale International Airport, and then also the subcontractors themselves, those who are supplying directly and indirectly the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Project and the entire oil and gas sector in general. Come 2025, the first drop of Uganda's oil is highly anticipated. Now, we now head to downtown. Last week, if you remember very well, traders were on a strike. And looking at it from the losses that were recorded last week, shop traders in downtown Kampala justified that last week's closed down strike that started from the 16th to the 19th of April did lead to quite a number of losses on their side. Of course, they are on a closed down strike until they had to meet, until their representatives or the leaders of the traders in various districts had to meet with President Museveni to address quite a number of issues, which included IFRIS and other issues like overtaxation. Now, Mark Arnold Wadulo did explore much of these issues downtown on behalf of UBC. The shop closed down last week by the traders in downtown could not have missed losses, as many traders did not turn up, remember, and that means their clients or customers who wanted goods during the entire week could not easily get it. And that directly impacts the economy and also impacts the sales of those traders, because a full week or close to a full week of not making any sales directly means you are not making any money. Now, when you look at the situation, many traders that are operating in downtown, especially those that dealing with goods or imported goods, those who are operating or selling scholastic materials in arcades, those who are also selling imported textile, many of those could not make any sales because of this sit-down strike. Now they have to capitalize and make sure that they revamp and get some good sales this new week after reopening over the weekend. Now, away from that, we now turn our focus to the creative industry in Uganda. Now, in the face of Uganda's persistent revenue deficits, expanding the country's revenue base becomes not just a necessity, but a strategic imperative. Now, one promising avenue for achieving this is lying in harnessing the potential of industries that are currently underdeveloped and need more intervention, but less intervention is already happening, and of course this intervention will need more than just finances, because there is a lot of opportunity and potentials within the players, especially those in the creative industry. Now, this despite receiving only modest investment, Uganda's creative industry is already directly and indirectly employing over 2 million Ugandans across various sectors such as art, music, dance, drama, and fashion. Now, recent estimates believe Uganda's creative industry is valued at around 1.5 billion US dollars, but experts believe its strong potential could even surpass 3 billion US dollars if the right effort is put in place. Support, as well as trying to build partnerships here and there, and most importantly, encouraging partnerships within the creative industry, because many of the creatives are still facing quite a number of issues, which includes startup capital, and then also where they can easily pitch their ideas of innovation and quite tap into the various opportunities available for the creative industry. And now, lastly, from our business updates this morning, courtesy of the Bank of Uganda, we look at the forex market to see how the various currencies are faring on the exchange. And this is how you will find the forex market, because by close of business yesterday, as you can see on your screen, the US dollar was buying at 3,804.75 opening time, while selling at 3,814.75. There was a slight change by midday, because the US dollar was buying at 3,810.17, then selling with 3,820.17. Then moving forward, the US dollar was buying at 3,810.38, while selling at 3,820.38. That is for those who are moving out to exchange their currencies. That is how you're going to find the US dollar this morning. Now, the Great Britain pound closed it's buying at 4,718.39, and then selling did close at 4,730.77. The euro was buying at 4,063.77, while selling at 4,074.43, and the Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.54, while selling at 28.61 shillings. Then looking at the Tanzanian shilling, it was buying at 1.47 shillings, while selling at 1.48 shillings, and the South African rand was buying at 199.75 shillings, while selling at 200.27 shillings. All right, now away from business update this morning, on the traffic update, we head back to what we had as a statement yesterday morning. Now, the works are ongoing according to the Uganda National Roads Authority in regards to the Nawong, according to what the Uganda National Roads Authority has updated, is that the repair works on the broken road and Nakasozi between Budo and Chengira along Kampala Masaka Road was kicked off yesterday at 10 a.m. according to details from the Uganda National Roads Authority. Now, also the regional manager of the Uganda National Roads Authority, that is the Central Region Engineer Julius Mosinguzi, said that these repairs within the next 24 hours will be done. So by Wednesday, which is tomorrow, the 24th, the chances are the repairs will be done and the road will be up and running. So for those of you who are highly affected along the way from Sunday and Monday because of the traffic flow all the slow traffic flow because of the interruptions and all that, the Uganda National Roads Authority continuously says you can have more patience on the same as they are dealing with this issue. So with time, tomorrow, hopefully, things will be better. Well, that's it from our traffic updates this morning. After the break, we return with the GMU agenda. And also, in the same hour, we have sports updates. So stick around. More is coming your way here on Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Was brought to you by
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock on my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Amina gange ndetibona Kiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala abe wakawaka. Ng'abakyala abe wakawaka tuemera kubaami baife nga bonkana abajamu nanda nga twidi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okolaki twafuna mu ng'abakyala ababujiri district. Abakyala babujiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo, twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting abaharvestinga, twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector dona diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunye mu ng'abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza okujja kujanga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga eturobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWeb, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byona biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you Tuko Pamoja Luo segment. Learn about the famous legend of Jipiri and Labongo and how the Alur, Acholi, Jonam and Japadola Jaluo emerged.
The Luo are basically Nilotic.
We are believed to have come from Baragazel in the Sudan.
When this colonialism came,
Which saved the life of men actually.
Fought fiercely.
Which was imprisoned here on that hill, Kololo.
Which remain the greatest hero in Acholi.
Premiering on Saturday the 20th of April 2024, 3 to 8 p.m. at Ndere Center.
To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, youth involvement in very many things has always been very critical, or has always been a huge topic of concern. Good morning and many thanks for joining us. It's time for us to get into our Good Morning Uganda agenda. I am Joram Paul Sonko. You are watching UBC this morning, and this is Good Morning Uganda. Well, and our topic of conversation this morning is empowering the youth as an engineering force for peace and transformation within the country. The majority of the population is filled up with young people, or the majority is filled up with the youth. Not only in Uganda, by the way, when you look at the global outlook of the population, the youth make up the highest number or the highest percentage of the population. And on the African continent, the rise of the young people is tremendous. And it's also something that can spur development if handled with a lot of attention, a lot of priority. And well, the leaders, or our leaders today, need to be very intentional by bringing the young people to get involved deep into the politics of the country,